say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good black love because you never validated me as a woman.
I wouldn't have you wrong Umar was your dad all my life. I always knew that was my dad.
And let me tell you something. We have people in this chat right now that have fought tirelessly for relationships with their children, I'm sure. And you have a guy that's claimed to be King Kong consciousness, conscious mean aware, and he not fighting for what he says his daughter. He claims the daughter, but he fights for your child. But he fights for your child. He fights for your child education. He fights for your child to have a school that has a balanced education. But he don't fight for his own. Come on now. Come on. Come on now. That doesn't make sense. Ninth intellect. Does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense, ninth intellect. Stop. Come on. So let's get back to this.
African spirituality. We were talking about that for a while because I'm kind of versed in it as well. And so when we were talking, I was asking him, I was like, so you never got married? He said, oh no, I never got married to any of those women. But he dated a lot. And I could tell that he was a playboy because he was very, very flirtatious. Very. And also I noticed too, his personality is much different in person than it is online. I'm not sure if it's because I'm a woman or something like that, but he's not as animated. He seems more hyped up when he's like on a podcast.
She says he seems hyped up when he's on a podcast. That's because he's in character. That's because he's in character. When he's on podcasts, he's in character. When he's personal, he's probably a weak little boy. He's probably a weak little boy inside. You know what I mean? Like when you see me, like this is what you get. Anybody that met me personally, they know what you see in this screen is what you're gonna get in person. If anybody in the chat met me in person, anybody, if you met me in person, what you see here is what you get in person. That's what I'm not yelling all the time, but I do get amped up, you know what I'm saying? This is my personality. I'm like this around my mom, my wife, my children. This is what it is. Liddell, I can't respect, affiliate, or associate with any man who abandons his daughter's son. Somebody say, can I call in? Shamia, can I call in? You want to call in? Let me see. Let me get the number for you. Oh my goodness. We might have to do a part 2, man. I got a bunch of more stuff I wanted to cover. All right, let's get the call in.
पाकिस्तान पैसे भेजो with great no transfer fees सिर्फ tap send के साथ.
And we don't have that information because we never heard the mother speak. Let me ask you this question. They asking all those things. Do you just be a YouTube personality? Don't sell people on that you're going to be the savior of black children, quote unquote, or as he said, black boys. Don't sell people on that. Just be a person that can inspire people because he has a way with words and he's very convincing when it comes to inspiring people. But building something, you can cancel that.
I'll tell like this, I'm just about to talk. Let's be concrete. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm neutral on this too. I get all the facts laid out because I'm not going to go on her side. I did this. I'm not going to go on her side, her side, or Dr Umar. I'm going to be totally neutral on it. Until the concrete evidence, one side or another, we're going to be totally neutral. I've got these people to the doctor. As I said, like you said, a lot of allegations against the role that Dr Umar is one at the time.
He didn't win.
That's why.
Hold on. Before you say that, we got a brother that's ninth intellect saying, showing your paperwork live will crush the daughter. Then people will call Umar evil for that. So Umar is stuck either way. But no. How you going to agree? Now let's get to critical thinking. What paperwork do Umar have specifically? You tell me.
Okay.
No, not if. Because my intellect says showing that paperwork. So I'm gonna ask you, and I'm gonna ask ninth intellect,
I can't go. I can't speak.
Listen,
So
Umar, this is how a charlatan works. Umar says he's had paperwork, but he never say what paperwork specifically he has. And everybody, hold on.
He has paid out. We'll get that. We got that stuff. He has paid out.
Listen. Umar, somebody said Umar have custody paperwork. Custody paperwork. What is that? What is custody paperwork? That the mother has custody?
Not yet. I think you try to file trial. And then get
Now listen, if he filed for custody and have paperwork for that, then he should be showing that right now. He shouldn't wait till no mother come on. He should be showing that right now. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. He has a daughter that's 22 saying that he's never spent a day with her outside on the couch. He's never been to any event with her. And he has paperwork that he filed for custody. He's supposed to say, listen, I'm not going to have this conversation any longer. Here is the paperwork I filed for custody. I was unable to achieve that, so I moved on. But here, I tried, and hey, you don't like it, but he didn't do that. He says, I have paperwork. He should show the paperwork and it would end the conversation because he at least made an effort.
well, like I said, what you do is
It's a piece of paper. It's a piece of paper.
What you do and what I'll do is probably supposed to do than what he does. And so that's part of how he wants to do it, because I think he want to embarrass the story like that.
How can he embarrass her? Bro,
I think the mother said you got more only on the mother with all
Bro, that doesn't even make sense. How does it embarrass the child to show that you was trying to fight for her? You ain't got to go in detail. You can just show the heading. You ain't got to read the whole. You ain't got to read the whole paper. You can just show the heading. Jermaine Shoemaker versus such and such. That's all you got to do. You ain't got to go into all the dirty laundry and the dirty detail. All you got to do is Jermaine Shoemaker versus such and such custody. Listen, I fought for custody. I'm not going into great detail. I'm not doing any of that. It didn't work out. Now, if we want to have a further conversation, I'm with that. But I'm not going to let you run my name through the mud when I tried to fight for my child.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Jump. If you have heard of Hurricane Chris, he's the Louisiana rapper that made the popular song Hey Baby. Those of you who remember that about 15 years ago. You might think that he's like a one and done type of rapper. You know, he doesn't make a lot of sense. He recently had a back and forth with 50 Cent. He basically decided to comment on Umar Johnson. Now, I want you to hear what he has to say, and we're going to come back.
I heard Dr. Umar attack a lot of stuff. And the first thing I thought when I seen him speak was, wow, you dump a lot of information very fast. A person that dumped too much information on me at one time lead me to think that it's been pre-scripted. Lead me to think that it's been put together with a motive. I like to see a person's conversation flow naturally at this pace right here, because you can see I'm actually thinking of what I'm finna say. If I say 99% of the people in America don't have this, and they walking around and they doing this, and you know we got 80 people over there in Africa. You studied all of this, bro, and you bringing it to the light to ride with your cause. You bringing it to the light to help solidify whatever it is you're trying to prove. I take that from what I see. I ain't got into his logic enough to know whether I'm right or wrong, but I would be willing to listen to some of his logic to see where he coming from. But hip hop, you don't ever disrespect hip hop and say it birthed some filth and that's it. Because hip hop is a beautiful thing.
Now, let me just say this, because a lot of folks are going to have some level of chagrin with what the brother is talking about. Is he stupid? Is something wrong with him? he has a comprehension problem. But let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I want you to listen to this Umar Johnson clip. I want you to hear how he's getting things across, and then we're going to come back.
When we going to do this debate? When we going to do this debate? Steve, Ricky, DL, I want y'all on the stage in front of the people right now. I'm doing it for Fannie Lou Hamer. I'm doing it for Emmett Till. I'm doing it for Medgar Evers. I'm doing it for Huey P. Newton. I'm doing it for His Excellency, the Most Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. I'm doing it for the Honorable Frederick Douglass. I'm doing it for Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Amir Lott, Dante, Sonia Massey, Freddie Gray. I'm doing it for them. Let's do the debate.
So you see, it's a lot of enthusiasm, kind of rising the crowd, if you will, hyping people up. And see, this is what people are talking about. This is what folks are talking about. Let me really get into it. Being a Christian, a Muslim, or a pro-black, I am always leery of people who are trying to put too much on it at the time they're talking to me. Like dropping so much information on me at one time. I'm going to tell you exactly what he means. Y'all think he's crazy, but the brother's not crazy. That is pretty much a fast-talking scammer. Okay? I live on the continent of Africa. I meet pro-blacks from all across the world. And every time I talk to somebody who's in the pro-black community and they're in business, want to know what they start doing? Fast talking hella fast, dumping hella information on you at once to try to sound what? To try to sound smart. To cover up from what? The fact that basically they're not doing anything. Basically, if they had works that spoke for themselves, they wouldn't need to do that. So what they do is they drop facts all day. They drop bombs all day. They talk about the history of this and that. But then when you look at what they execute, they don't do anything. And that's what he's talking about. Because why? I'm going to tell you. In the black community, and we all know this, you don't need to actually become anybody in the black community. You don't need to do anything in the black community. All that you need to do is to drop facts all day. Drop facts all day. That's all you gotta do. Okay? All that you need to do is to talk about this and that, what the black man ain't doing. Here's how we passing our generational wealth down. But when you look at their personal life, they don't live anything that they're talking about. And that's Dr. Umar Johnson's problem. Because as men, let me tell you something. See, here's the difference between men and women. Women, they can deal with a guy that's a pastor. Those guys like Jamal Harris and Bryant, guys who talk real good, Dr. Umar, women are enamored by them. Men, not so much. Men, we're looking at, do you do what you say you're going to do? It sounds good. I get it. You're a smart guy. I get it. You're a talented guy. I get it. You're a bright guy. But you're not living up to what you say you're living up to. Therefore, as a man, I can't really mess with you like that, bro. I can't really rock with you because you're not living up to the things that you said you would. So therefore, you're not solid. You're just not solid like that, bro. That's the reality. You're not a solid guy. And what men is going to process it is just like that. You're not solid, don't trust it. Because in the streets, it's a whole bunch of dudes that fast talk. That's all dudes in the street. In the black community, most guys, especially since, when I was coming up, education was not as respected as it should have been. Maybe like in the 70s or 60s.
I'm going to grab us some cold foam.
A baby's going to change everything.
I'll teach the baby art and Chris will change the diapers.
Ready to get started with this program today. Thank you for being here. This is the Information Man Show. We're going to get into it. I've got a lot of surprises for you in this particular stream. Let me shout out to everybody out there who's been jumping on this issue, holding this man accountable. Of course, we've got our man Honors, who's got the receipts. He breaks it down on his channel all the time. Let me say peace and love to KKC, who's been on the job on this as well. Black Anonymous, a lot of people that's out there. Let me say what's up to my man, Naps TV. Now, Naps TV and Black Anonymous sent me emails because there was a particular video in which Umar Johnson, it appears like Umar Johnson made some threats in this video that was actually on his Instagram. A lot of us thought that maybe Instagram had gotten rid of it, deleted it, or he deleted it. But it just so happened when I looked through my receipts, I actually had the video. So I want to thank those brothers for sending me that email, just trying to give me a little add to the show today, because we're going to get into it. I'm actually got some receipts for you that you've either seen before or you probably haven't seen as of yet. Meaning these are receipts that are current, the most golden receipts that I have. A lot of times when we do Umar Johnson, or we talk about him, we critique what he's doing, a lot of times it's us looking at his videos as he's talking and we're critiquing him. I have a gem of a video clip that is right from his daughter's Instagram. Anisha, I have a clip from his daughter where she's actually playing Umar's response, his recent response on the video where he's making these threats, or he's saying sort of cold threats, or making statements about, I better see my child, I better this and better that. Well, what better reaction than the daughter actually holding her phone while Umar is making these statements and she rebuts everything right there. So I've got that receipt, but I found this receipt that I'm about to show you in a little bit just yesterday evening, digging through, and I found a video. It's a small video clip where Umar Johnson has given himself away, meaning Umar Johnson is on a podcast or something of that nature, and he's actually admitting that he hasn't been in the life of his daughter, and as a result of not being in the life of his daughter or a daughter, there's a chance that they could have issues with relationships, go down the right path. And even if Umar Johnson was talking about females in general, it's actually a reflection on Umar Johnson. And in the clip, he's actually saying, one day, my own child, oh yeah, that one day my own child.
Let me stop right here. This brother, this guy, he information man, is also work with people who are. He works in a prison, and he does therapy with prisoners, and he kind of analyze them. So he's telling you from an analytical point of view. He got the same degree as Dr. Umar, and so this would make him qualified to talk on the subject.
They expose me. It's a small clip. How many of y'all have seen this clip? Put sevens in the chat room if you have seen this clip. We got my man Mike B in the house. Shirley's in the house. Blue Devil. My man Blue Devil's over here. I know I gotta drop some content on the Prime Sports Media channel because you all follow me over there too as well. I will be dropping content on the system.
If you're thinking about buying solar panels, don't. The U.S. government will literally buy them for you.
In the channel here, we already know presentation, and you all heard me play the James Earl Jones. You all heard me play the James Earl Jones audio of saying that it's my job as a man to take care of you. It's what a man does, take care of his family. So again, Umar, when we say why can't he be normal in the way he talks to his child, because something is wrong with Umar.
let's go into the first video clip that I want to show you about a young lady. You all probably seen this clip, but I got it in high fashion. A young lady who exposed Umar for being the baby mama making man that he is. And I want y'all to see this because I know you've seen it, but check this out. This high fashion.
I met him when I was 24 years old, and this is a recent picture. We just met in June of last year, and we did discuss his children along with a few other things. Wow. We met up at Brandywine Diner on Concord Pike last year, and because he wanted to take me out to lunch, and I kind of wanted to talk about, like, just have a conversation with him regarding, like, black content creators on TikTok and social media. So while we're talking, we talk about religion, we talk about racism in America, we talk about secret societies, because that was really my peak of interest. So we first started off by talking about why he was in Wilmington again. He's always going to his school in Wilmington, Delaware, because, number one, he's being audited by the IRS a lot. When I first met him,
hear that?
Him in 2022, he literally told me he was there because his accountant was caught stealing funds from the school. They were receiving donations for the school, and he was saying that his accountant was stealing money. So he had to fire that accountant, and the IRS was asking for proof, like where the money went. So he started commuting from Philadelphia to Wilmington, Delaware frequently, just so he could be at the school in case anybody shows up and asks why the school's not done, or where the kids are at, or what's going on. So when I met up with him last year, he was just coming back from the school when we had lunch. I guess the IRS is still asking him about the school because it's not done. Like, he's receiving money, donations, but there's no progress with the school. If you were to go up right now to the school, like, there's wooded boards on the doors, on the windows, there's weeds, graffiti on some of the buildings. Like, it's not in proper condition. There's no AC, there's no heating, there's nothing. Like, it's not, the school's not ready. When we were talking at the table, I started asking him a lot of private questions, like, were you married? Do you have any kids? He was telling me, yes, I have 2 daughters. One of them is a teenager, and the other one is maybe 7 years old at the time. So the child is probably 9 years old. So he was saying to me that the mother of those girls, or the mother of, I don't know if it's 2 separate women or just one woman, the woman or the women are taking him to court for child support because he's not an active dad. He's not in their life, and he told me that as well. He doesn't visit them as much as he should.
I wanted to stop that right there because that tells you everything you need to know about Umar Johnson. Now, of course, he's trying to deny this, but it is true. Thank you, Keeper116, for coming through. Everybody that's here, thank you, The Informant Media. Make sure y'all subscribe to The Informant Media. Everybody that's in this chat room may have YouTube channels of their own. So I always say, write people's names down on paper and then go back to their channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification, what have you, because I know the Informant Media has a YouTube channel, and he's talked about Umar and many other things as well. I think Last Call has a channel, Black Anonymous, NAF TV. Oh, let me shout out Make a Change. I had a chance to look at Make a Change YouTube channel video, and he really breaks it down about Umar, and he uses the docket records just like Aunt. But right here, this woman, I don't think she's lying. I think she's telling the truth. Now, of course, Umar is always going to deny anything that makes him look like the hypocrite that he really is. But she's telling the truth. If you believe everything that this woman is saying is the God's honest truth, put 7s in the chat room.
Good. However, he visits his mom a lot, and she's in Philly. So I just was confused. I was like, how are you talking about being a pillar and how black men are so needed in families today, but you're not even an active dad? He was not an active father. He said it. He confirmed it. I could back this young lady up. He did say that. He was not going to be there. And on top of that, he was saying that he would like to, in the future, every 2 weeks out of the month, go to Ghana. He practices Ifa, which is African spirituality. And we were talking about that for a while because I'm kind of versed in it as well. And so when we were talking, I was asking him, I was like, so you never got married? He said, oh no, I never got married to any of those women. But he dated a lot, and I could tell that he was a playboy because he was very, very flirtatious, very. And also, I noticed too, his personality is much different in person than it is online. I'm not sure if it's because I'm a woman or something like that, but he's not as animated. He seems more hyped up when he's like on a podcast or online.
So what does that tell you, everybody? That it's an act. When Umar is on a podcast and he's online, that it's all an act that he's projecting. You get what I'm saying? It's all an act that he projects. She's telling you that he's calm, more collective when he was talking to her. Because the truth of the matter is that Umar Johnson, this is all part of his act, part of the grift. You get on a podcast, you get to talking loud, you start saying things that seem to some people to be profound, when actually it's all about an image. It's a costume, a mental costume that he puts on when he talks to people, screaming and yelling about what black men should be doing, what black women should be doing, and don't be snow bunny hopping, and don't be wearing your hair this way, and don't be wearing weaves and blonde hair. All of that is an act to grift black women in particular. We've talked about this before. Who are his main people who support him? It's black women, right? These are the main folks that he gets his money from. These are the main people that he's focused on are women. But yet, while he's cuddling up to women that he meets all around the world, internationally and nationally, here he has a daughter, like this woman right here, that he has neglected, that he hasn't been there for since she was young. She even said since she was maybe around 10 years old. I have exclusive audio. Everybody make sure you share this damn video today, because I've got exclusive stuff on this video, on this channel today, that you either have heard about or heard or listened to or have not yet. He's neglective of the women in his life that are most important, such as his daughters. He does not have just 2 kids. He has 3 kids. He's been neglecting the other child, 22-year-old Anissa. Let me say her name correct, Anissa. He's been neglective of her since she was 10 years old. Thank you, Coke-like personality, $5 super chat. Umar for proving Pan-Africanism is dead. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I really want to get back to this and let y'all hear some more of this individual who is a fool. He's being exposed here. And I got audio from her first interview that Cynthia G is the first person that I know of that's interviewed Umar Johnson's daughter. So I've got to give credit to the fact that she was the one that did this interview on her channel. Got a lot of information out of this young lady that I think is very fruitful, eye-opening, and I've got some audio clips from that interview, mainly focusing on when that young lady was exposing and letting you know who Umar really is. On top of the fact that I've got video from her where she's critiquing Umar just the way we do while putting the phone up, listening to his nonsense, his rebuttal to her exposing him, saying that he's saying that they've been put up to doing this to him. No, you just been exposed. Let's continue this right here.
Engaging, he was not as engaging in person.
And thank you, Keeper116, for the $5 super chat. Yes, he is a hypocrite. Thank you.
And I felt like that was interesting. I was having to ask him questions. He didn't really ask me questions. It's almost like we had lunch just for me to ask him questions. And I didn't really like that because it was supposed to be a back and forth discussion. And so we were talking about a variety of topics. He is extremely flirtatious. And that was the last time.
What's going on, Sir Tricks? Hey, what's going on, man? My man Type, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming over. You say, I've said for years. This is Umar Johnson. This is the man that said he was going to open up a school, and I got some stuff to bust out today. Woo! I've got so many things in my bag today for y'all to see. I've said for years he's literally nothing but a online character. No testimonials, past student, clients just a bunch of blubber. Salute information. Hey, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Clap to you. Welcome back to the channel too, my brother. I appreciate you coming over. The super chats, appreciate it. I do this for the facts of it all. If you guys give me super chats, I appreciate them. I don't, demand anything of you other than the fact that you should be over here only for truth, not lies.
Yeah, the truth.
Now, I've had a chance to look at people critiquing this thing on the YouTube streets, and I feel that too many people are making excuses for Umar Johnson. We got receipts on this channel. We've been showing receipts, so nobody can dispute anything that I'm about to show you today. Let me continue playing this by this young lady.
I met up with him probably the last time because it was very aggressive because I'm in a relationship, and when I had met up with him last year, because it was very aggressive because I'm in a relationship, and when I had met up with him last year, I told my partner, like, I'm going to go have lunch with Dr. Umar. He was like, what the fuck? So he was like, yeah, go have lunch and come back and let me know how it goes. But y'all, before I go back to seeing my boyfriend, on my life, when we left, I gave him a hug. He was like, He said, the women got to have booty. And I was like, what? He said, you got to have booty. If I'm talking to you, you got to have booty.
Now, why would Umar have a conversation with this young lady who has a boyfriend and then sit up here and spend all his time focusing on you gotta have booty? This is supposed to be a man that's supposed to be professional, right? A man who claims that he can take care of black boys, right? A man who claims that he's got the answer to black boys in the classroom, that only he can take care of black boys. That only he has the answer to what's ailing the black community. That he has the ability to raise your black son by having a Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey Academy, which he hasn't done anything with. There is no academy. It's all fluff. That he can educate your child. You can't trust Umar because he hasn't even been there for his own daughters. You understand me? He hasn't even been there for his own daughters and daughter. So he's a complete hypocrite again.
Can you cook? I was like, yeah, I can cook. He was like, good. Good.
That's all Umar Johnson is concerned about is me. Like this. This is an example. Now, I'm not going to lie. This is a good-looking sister here. Obviously, she's curvy, as one would say. But this is an indicative picture of what the sister's talking about. This is what Umar is into. Nothing wrong with enjoying women, liking women, and being attracted to black women. But he has more time to do this than he does with his own daughter. You get what I'm saying?
Be a father.
Let's continue.
You can cook and you got boo. And he was backing up from me. He said, He said, business before back shots. Business before back shots. I wish I was kidding. I wish I was kidding. And mind you, I'm in a fucking relationship. So I was like, what do you mean business before back shots, nigga? Like, what? So he's laughing to himself and he goes back to his car because he was going to go back to Philly to go take care of his mom. And I was like, I can't see this fool again. Because what do you mean business before back shots? No back shots are being given. What? Because business before back shots, whose back are you shooting? Because it's not mine. The fuck? So, extremely flirtatious. Very much so. I remember asking him too, like, are you and Sukihana like a thing? Because I know she's from Delaware too. I was like, do y'all, are y'all fucking? I was asking him too. I was like, are you and Suki like a thing? Like you? Because I know she's from Delaware too. I'm like, are y'all fucking? Like, and he was like, no, we're friends. That's my girl. You know, she got her own restaurant in downtown Wilmington somewhere. Sure.
All right, everybody. Wow.
Sure.
This is crazy.
When you say to me, business before back shots. And you and Suki are just friends. Highly doubt it, because you got a big booty too. Anyway, I say all this to say, this young lady is telling the truth. He is a deadbeat father, extreme hypocrite.
Yes.
And huge flirt.
I agree.
This is not the black man you think he is. He's loyal. He got a wife at home. He take care of his kids. He's not that type of black man. He is, he spreads his seed. He told me he only got 2 kids. I feel like it's more. He's not visiting his children. He's not paying child support.
Right.
And these things came out of his own fucking mouth. Okay? Right. So, I believe this young lady, and I just...
Tell the truth, baby. Tell the truth. She's telling the truth. Okay? Did you hear what she said? Umar Johnson, she said a very key thing, everybody. We're going to be surgical with this today. I've got lots of receipts on this man today. So I dare any of the Umar Johnson cult followers to come over here and try to dispute anything. They're trying to get Umar for things that he did not do. Now I'm going to say it again. We know that family court normally does go in the favor of women than it does men. But in the case of Umar, I don't feel bad for no Umar Johnson because he was derelict. You already heard me play a clip where he admits he didn't do nothing for, he wasn't in the life of his child. And she'll have a podcast about him. Let's continue here.
It's been filed by plaintiff. Generic order 2018, generic order in 2019, January 3rd. About a month later, he purchases these abandoned buildings in Wilmington. This is just crazy.
Yeah, it is
crazy.
crazy.
You ain't got no shame whatsoever. None. Okay? Again, this is what? The 3rd baby mama. Right? We pull up the next one. There you go.
Umar Johnson, man.
This is 2019, January 2000, generic order to vacate a bench warrant against the defendant issued. Generic order, 2019, generic order to vacate bench warrant against the defendant issued. Generic order, modification petition plaintiff attorney 5. So it looks like this one hired an attorney too. Order to appear at a mod conference, defendant responded. Order to appear at a mod conference, plaintiff petitioner. That's in 2019. A pro se contempt petition filed by plaintiff, okay, by September 18th of 2019. Generic order. September again, order to vacate bench warrant against the defendant issued. September again, generic order. September again, interim order in effect, conference officer. October 7th, generic order. December 16th, generic order. January 20th, generic order. January 8th, January 2020, generic order. January again in 2020, generic order. January 8, 2020, order to vacate bench warrant against the defendant issued. Okay.
You know why the bench warrant was issued against him? Pretty obvious here. Umar Johnson was not paying his child support. He was being neglectful. Right? He was being neglectful. Meanwhile, he's collecting millions of dollars from black people, right, for a so-called school. And then taking all these trips all around the world. He's been traveling. He was just in Sweden not too long ago. Now he's in Long Beach. Plane tickets cost money. He's flying on planes, y'all. But he can't take care of his own kids. So that's why, I'm sorry, I understand there's a lot of men out there who get raked over the coals when it comes to the child support courts and how they treat them. But Umar, for those of y'all who've been on y'all channels this week, over the last couple of weeks, and you've been talking about it from a child support situation and how men get sometimes raked over the coals. Don't include Umar in the conversation, because Umar and you, if you're a black man and you're doing the right thing and you legitimately have a situation where you can't see your kid but you're paying child support because the woman that you used to be with is causing you some problems, don't equate Umar's situation with your situation, because Umar wasn't even doing those things. He's claiming that he wasn't able to see his child, but yet he fails to tell you Why? This is one thing that Umar doesn't tell anybody on his Instagram. Why is it that Umar has a order on him to only have visitation rights to see his kids that has to be supervised? Have you asked that question? See, a lot of people on YouTube streets are talking about this issue, but have failed to do research on the man, as I have, and many of us like me. Let's put this up here. Let's break this bullshit down. I told you I was going to be surgical today. In America, men are typically ordered to pay child support after a divorce or separation involving a minor child. With the parent who spends less time with the child, thank you, a lady 747 for the super chat. Mike B, Black Anonymous. I see a lot of great folks over here today.
This is a switch bike. This is a switch bike. No.
Mike B, Black Anonymous. I see a lot of great folks over here today. Nubian Gold is in the house. Mike B, Keeper 116. Jonathan is in the house. Thank you all for being here. Let's continue. With the parent who spends less time with the child, usually, right? Usually he's paying support to the primary caregiver. So if you are a man or woman and you're not spending the most time with a child, you're not the primary caregiver, that's another way that they can get you on child support, okay? So to men, if you're in a relationship with a woman, the relationship ends, but you had a child with her, and you walk away, and when you walk away, and that makes her the primary caregiver of that child because you walked away, and then that woman takes you to court, you can't be surprised that if she took you to court and say, hey, he owes me child support, I'm the main person taking care of this child, then you can't turn around, men, if you walked away from your responsibility. You may not want to be with that woman anymore, but you still are responsible for the seed that you laid down to have. These are just facts. The purpose is to ensure the child's financial needs are met, even if they don't live with both parents. I agree with that, but I also think that as men, we should be able to demand receipts. They should change the law and say that when we're paying child support, that we should be able to see receipts that prove that the money that we give the woman is going to our child. That's an area that I wish that they would actually rectify. Yeah. Now, here's more details, explanation. Child support purpose. Child support is intended to ensure that the children who live with the only one parent are financially taken care of, even if the parents are separated or divorced. So if the woman is the primary caregiver of the child, gentlemen, then obviously you're gonna pay some child support, even if you don't like what they're making you pay. But if you get 50-50 custody, it doesn't work that way. I know, because I'm paying 50-50. But I'm not getting raked over the coals because I didn't have to go to court. My ex didn't have to take me to court. I already said, this is what I'm going to do for my child. I'm going to take care of her. So we didn't have that type of drama. Usually when you get taken to court, in general, it's because you may have just walked away from that woman and walked away from that responsibility. Here comes a fraternity suit against you, right? I didn't walk away from my responsibility as a man to my child. I simply said, yes, I'm the father, I'm going to be here for my child, and we made our agreements that way. Now, of course, you have to have a sensible person that you're dealing with. But I didn't get raked over the coals because we didn't allow this to get tangled in a damn courtroom. Once you allow the system, because once you sign a marriage certificate, you've already allowed the system to be involved in your relationship. Umar, if he had did what he did, if he had did the right thing from the get-go, maybe he could have kept the white man, as he would say, the white man system off his back had he did the right thing. These petitions against him was because he failed to do what he said he was going to do for his child or children. Okay? Let me put this up right here. A father might need supervised visitation This is what Umar Johnson is under, and he's not telling you all on these podcasts or on the Instagram. A father might need supervised visitation with his children due to safety concerns such as allegations of abuse, neglect, or substance abuse, or if there are concerns about the children's or child's well-being during the unsupervised visit. Guess what, everybody? If I'm telling the truth, if Umar is on visitation in the chat room, why don't Umar talk about that? The only way you can be put on that is if you were abusive to the child when you had them originally, if you were neglectful when you were around them, and now the mother can go to court and say, this man is abusing my child, this man is neglectful, and then the court will put you under supervised visitation because something, I don't know what happened, but something might have happened for him to be on that type of status.
Got another one for you on Umar. Watch this.
The Friedman firm has helped me through the process with extreme ease and care. I would highly recommend.
I believe the universe brought me my children before I blew up for 2 reasons. I needed to learn the lesson of respect for the black woman's vagina before I became King Kong.
And so doing a lot of stuff in Skid Row, and this week coming up with
You look so good on your live, Dr. Umar. I want to eat you up. At ease, my queen. At ease, my queen. What do you mean you want to eat up the prince? You look so good on your live, I want to eat you up. What do you mean by that, my beautiful African sister? Because if this would have happened after I blew up, see, these situations are pre-Prince of Pan-Africanism. These situations are pre-September 18th, 2010. So the universe needed me to experience this before I came to the world, because if I would have made those mistakes in front of the world, I would have had to vacate my throne. I would have had to get off the throne. So the universe knew that he got some spiritual growth that he needs to get done. So we're going to give him these babies before he blow up, and we're going to let him suffer the pain of his bad decisions. We're going to let him suffer the pain of his bad decisions before we put him out before the world. So both princesses of Pan-Africanism were conceived before the ancestors put me before the world, because I wasn't ready yet. Could you imagine if this would have happened after I blew up? It would be holy hell. So my daughters were conceived before I blew up. And so I've learned my lesson now.
Umar Johnson was still referring to himself as the Prince of Pan-Africanism and King Kong consciousness when he was around the age of 40, 41, 42. Okay, that's when he fell into this whole conscious stripper dilemma. Okay, that whole sex scandal. Okay, and it's also alleged that that's when he had his third child with his third baby mama. Okay, so apparently he never learned his lesson. But the black women who support Umar Johnson, they never learned their lesson either, because I believe about 80% of Umar Johnson supporters are black women. See, I try to convey an unbiased take on this channel because the scriptures say a false balance is an abomination. Okay, this is why there's no accountability for when the school will open from so-called black women. Okay, some channels are incredibly biased, as though Umar Johnson is just abusing these poor women, and then he doesn't pay his child support, and these women can't think for themselves, they're so helpless. No. Okay, some of these things may be true. Okay, the degree to how Dr. Umar Johnson is able to articulate himself and sway the minds of the people. Okay, yes, there's some manipulation there. Okay, but it also goes both ways. Okay, we got to look at the world that we live in. A lot of women are going to Dr. Umar Johnson events for multiple reasons, many reasons. Okay, some are going there for clouds. All right, in this world of social media, everyone wants to gnaw at someone else's clout, okay, without merit. Meaning there's no argument, there's no fact checking, no facts are being presented for a reasonable debate. All right, the women are not showing up to Dr. Umar Johnson events with their pen and notepads saying, okay, what date are you going to open the school up? Where's the HVAC? Where's the electrical unit? Has the building been inspected? When are these things going to get done? Okay, do you have some sort of curriculum? All right, from where are you hiring these teachers that are going to be watching over our children? They're not asking any of these questions. They have no type of structure being presented here. Okay, because we live in a world of entertainment. It's just a reflection of what you see on YouTube. 99.5% of content presented on YouTube is trash. All right? And me being a spiritual man, okay, putting things into context using the scriptures, I'm looking at it through spiritual lenses. How the black woman is not asking Dr. Umar Johnson, why is he practicing all of these false religions? Okay? They never rebuke him for serving the divine feminine. And he's publicly making it known who he serves. Okay, those are false feminine deities. Okay, men, those are man-made gods. Alright, every time you see Umar Johnson, he has beads around his neck, or he has something on his wrist, and he has these protection stones. That's witchcraft. He said out of his own mouth that the ancestors are here to protect him. Okay, no one call him out for serving another god. Okay, now in the flesh, we know that he worships the black woman's vagina. Okay, that's why you heard him say, opening up, that he's reflecting on his mistakes for not respecting the black woman's vagina. Really, that's just a segue that he used into triggering something, a subliminal message in the minds of black women. Okay, but nevertheless, I'm going to play a few clips of some things he had to say, which proves that he's into the satanic rituals. And then I'll give my response.
American business never stops. All across the nation, folks are waking up and heading.
Say, which proves that he's into the satanic rituals. And then I'll give my response.
We have to respect the sacredness of the African woman's vagina. Now, I'm going to go real rap. We must respect the sanctity and the sacredness and the divinity of the black woman's vagina. We must do that.
It teaches that the divine is feminine and masculine. Okay, this is all occultic talk. Alright, this is heresy and it's not of God. See, Dr. Umar Johnson will lead many to the lake of fire because I believe he also disregards spirit spouses. Alright, we gotta talk about this. Okay? As I mentioned last week or a few weeks ago, spirit spouses are a plague to the black man and woman. These evil spirits, obviously there's a veil that separates the spirit realm from the earth realm. Okay, but your body, you're a three-part being. You have a soul, you have a spirit, and obviously you have this flesh, which is an earth shell. Okay, it's a temporary meat suit with an expiration date. When you go to sleep, you're entering into that realm on the other side of the veil. Okay, he's teaching that the dead are still living. When the scriptures say that the dead know nothing, they have no place under the sun. Okay, either they transitioned on to heaven or they went to hell. But Umar Johnson is teaching that the ancestors and your sexual energy, talks a lot about energy. Obviously, he's using this as a talking point to persuade the black woman to get in her pants. Okay? Now, how often he does this, Lord knows how often. Now, someday the truth will come out. Alright, but from a spiritual standpoint, he's misleading people into thinking that the spirit realm is more merged right now with this earth realm than it will be, or than it actually is. You understand? And these are all false teachings. Okay, he's under a spell from a seducing spirit. But nobody's talking about it from this standpoint. Everybody's talking
Yes.
about what's in the flesh.
Yes.
Talking about child support. And so now, should men be going out sleeping with women, having children? No, I don't condone that either.
Right.
But that's not the bigger issue. That's not the underlying issue. Okay, anybody who studies these scriptures and have a relationship with the Most High knows that spirit spouses actually attack the black man's finances. And spirit spouses work through human beings to cause a wedge
Right.
between the black man and this black woman.
Mm-hmm.
All right, in forthcoming videos, I'm going to talk more about this because we being spirit beings, your spirit is a house. Okay, remember Christ talked about how he knocks on the doors of your heart. If you would just let him in so he can come down and fellowship with you. Okay, well, demons also knock on the doors of your heart. But anyway, I'm not going to go too deep into that. That's for a whole other video. Let's continue.
Oh, can I ask one more question?
Sure, go right ahead, man.
So, what religion do you subscribe to?
I practice Ifa, and that is the spiritual system practiced by the Yoruba of Nigeria. And, African spirituality, which is the birther of all of the world religions. All of them come out of African spirituality. Everything they believe in, African people already believed. Generally speaking, God, the deities, life after death.
And every story of every
all that comes from us. All that comes from us. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Moses grew up in Egypt. Jesus spent time in Egypt. Many of the names have African syllables and vowels in them. That type of a thing. So it all comes from us. But it's basically absolutely supreme creator at the top. We on the bottom. Divinities in between, including the ancestors. We were born to fulfill a particular purpose. And your life is all about finding and fulfilling your purpose. That's a real extra simple explanation. It's much more complicated, but that's the gut. In heaven, you chose a destiny that God consecrated, and you come to earth to fulfill that. And anything you do that doesn't lead you towards the fulfillment of your destiny is going to lead to you feeling depressed, angry, unfulfilled, all of that.
The reason why Umar Johnson is embracing all religions is because Marcus Garvey, the man whom he's naming the school after, Marcus Garvey was a Christian.
Boom.
So he has to explain that away. And so he has to say, I'm going to embrace all religions, and all religions come from African spirituality, but they teach different things, so they can't all come together. Okay, some religions are absolute. Okay, either there's a heaven or a hell. Either Muhammad is a prophet, just like Jesus, or it's either that or Jesus Christ is God. Okay, and of course on this channel, I teach that Jesus Christ is God. So you can't serve two masters. See, he's teaching that you can serve multiple masters. I mean, how many religions are out there? But because he's trying to expand, and another reason why he teaches that all religions can be embraced is because the Masonic order is another religion. And they have their philosophies and they have their doctrine that they teach. And as you can see here in this picture here, Umar Johnson is taking picture with frat brothers. Okay, so he's saying your race comes first before your religion, which is stupid because the bloodlines are mixed. Okay, a man can have black skin. I talked about this before. How Barry Gordy has black skin. And Quincy Jones had black skin. But if you go back a couple generations from when they were born, their grandfather was white men. That's why they were put over the music industry. You see the hypocrisy there? Okay, so it can't only go by the person's skin color. You got to go by whether or not that person is born again. Whether they receive a new nature. And they can only present that through their character. But anyway, I don't want to make this video too long.
Shout out to Fake Gates for breaking it down. We broke it down right there. Boom. That's what it is. That's what you're serving. And that's what all his followers is, and people believe him and listen to that. Or who's backing all that up? That's what they're heading to. So enough said. The proof is right there. Shout out to Information Man. Shout out to Morris TV. Shout out to the other O'Shea Duke Jackson. Boom. There it is. If you still support him after that, I don't know what to say. You gotta be the biggest fool. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. See you guys on the next video. Take care.